Alright, hello and welcome everybody to the first ever Le Mans Ultimate Prologue race here at Lightning Speed Racing. We are here at the circuit, the International Algarve. I might have butchered that pronunciation, I do apologize. But we are here in Portugal, a track that we haven't seen on the WEC calendar since 2023. We got a few cars here on track at the moment. This is only the prologue, so there will be no season points given. And honestly, I think we have a really exciting race for us here today. I am your host and your commentator, Reckless GG, aka Patrick Coleman, and I will go ahead and provide all the commentary throughout qualifying the races here for the entirety of the season. Now, Portugal is a very interesting track. It's got a lot of massive elevation changes and a lot of tricky corners to kind of navigate. So we will definitely have to see how this race goes. We're just going to go on board with a few of these cars here. So we don't have our entire grid currently because this is a prologue race, but so far, every single hypercar seat is taken up, which is going to be absolutely amazing. So we got a grid of nearly 40 different hypercars racing from the 2023 season and the 2024 season. So you're going to see some of the boutique manufacturers like Isota, Glickenhaus, and Van Wall, which honestly, those are probably three of my favorite Le Mans hypercars in existence, especially the Van Wall. I was actually talking with some of the drivers about it, and just about some of the different quirks and some of the different kind of, there's a word that I'm trying to think about, it's not exactly coming to my mind, but anyways, just some things that make them different. Like, for example, with the Van Wall only having 6 gears as opposed to everybody else having 7. And speaking of talking about the boutique manufacturers, we'll go ahead and go on board with the Glickenhaus and Wilson 709 car. Locking up his brakes a little bit there. I mean, that corner is one of the trickiest corners on this track. You can definitely expect to see a lot of drivers lock up their brakes in that particular corner and then go ahead and just go a little deep. So we'll definitely see that. This track is really good for overtaking because, I mean, it's similar to Barcelona in a sense. It has a lot of similarities to the Spanish circuit, but it does have a lot more elevation change than Barcelona and a few extra corners. So this is a 15-corner track, 2.891 miles for 4.653 kilometers. It does have some similarities to Barcelona, as the Glickenhaus is actually all into the gravel. He's going to go ahead and get a restart. We're going to go ahead and go on board this time with Rovin, who is currently one of the Toyotas on track. So we have a decent spread of hypercars here currently. We have the number 8 Toyota, and then now we see a BMW of Rokov go ahead and move up into Q2 in qualifying. So after this qualifying session, we will actually be going ahead and starting the 1-hour endurance race here. We have quite a few amazing races on the calendar here as it sits. As we're going to go ahead and watch this. Somewhat of a mini battle between the Cadillac Racing Mendy and then also the Glickenhaus of Wilson. Oh no, it's Perez, my apologies. Oh, they're going real deep. The battling's already started. Can you turn on my mic? Okay, thank you for letting me know. Go ahead. Actually, let me turn on the game audio just a bit. Thank you. Just let me know if that's better. I can make more adjustments as needed. Because I had both the mic and game audio max, so I do appreciate that information. So anyway, we have a total of 14 cards here. The tower session only displaying 9 of them. So some of the drivers who have yet to set times are Dan Wilson in the Glickenhaus. Then we have Tristan Mendy in the number 311 Cadillac. bit better now. All right, I'm gonna make a few more audio adjustments as we hear that NASCAR V8 of the Whelen Cadillac Racing Machine, the number 311, getting a little airborne there on the exit of the last corner there, known as the Galp, which is a really funny name. He's going to come across the line, and I don't think that improved his position any. We're going to go ahead and take a look here. We're going to go ahead and display some qualifying information here. Go ahead and remove the tower for a bit. So the Cadillac is currently P9, about 3 seconds off of the lap time set by Mark Santos. Very good time from him. It's a 1:32.315. And then Roshan is just 2/10 behind him exactly with a 1:32.5. And then the next cars for the top 5 are Prokev, Johnny Luna, and then Bradley Kennedy. The 20, 51, and 94 cars respectively. We're going to go ahead and actually switch to one of these drivers. We're going to go ahead and go on board with Bradley Kennedy in the number 94 Peugeot, currently sitting in P5 at the moment. If there's any information you guys would like me to go ahead and display, just go ahead and let me know from the chat, and I will go ahead and present it on screen. So, I think the Peugeot is actually getting ready for a lap. The time to beat is the purple time on your screen set by one of the Toyotas earlier. A 1:32.315. Now, unlike Formula One, there is no stage qualifying, so this is the only qualifying session that we're going to go ahead and have. We're actually going to go on board for a lap here with Kennedy as it's it. There we go. I was just trying to switch the cameras a bit. We're going to go on board now with the number 94 car as it makes its way through a lap. He's having a pretty good time right now. Sector 1, about a 10th. Oh, and there's a Toyota going round. He's losing the back end there. I believe that was Mark Santos who went ahead and went wide there. Not the kind of start you want. It is easy to kind of oversend this track, especially with the amount of elevation changes that are on some of these corners. Can really unsell the car. We've seen a few cars kind of go airborne ever so slightly, so you got to be really careful sometimes. You can just lose the grip there. Sector 2, 7/10 off now, which I can imagine was due to going ahead and having to evade the car. We're going to go on board with Formula Jonah in the Porsche, one of the Porsche Penske machines, the number 6 car on the grid. He's up in the first sector. The game looks amazing. Oh yeah, it is. I mean, even on a controller, because most times these games don't really play nicely with a controller. But I have the Oracle Red Bull Racing SCUF controller, and this game was amazing to play. I had a lot of fun on it, doing some practice sessions here to kind of get warmed up, just to kind of experience what the drivers are going through today on this track. So, and yeah, Portugal is a very interesting track. It was last used in 2023 for the World Endurance Championship. ELMS uses it still. Formula One used up until 2021, which I think they should bring it back. It was a really fun track to watch, and even funner, more enjoyable to drive. I drove it in F1 24 and the Assetto Corsa and the current gen of F1 cars, and honestly, quite a blast. Now we're going to go ahead and switch it up just to kind of show like the overall rankings here as they come up on your screen. Santos and Machete in first place. I probably butchered that pronunciation. I do apologize. So it's a Toyota 1-2 right now, followed by the number 20 BMW of Prokev, then the number 51 Ferrari of Luna, Total Energies Peugeot of Kennedy. So we have an Alpine, Porsche Penske of Pubella, the Lamborghini of Afonso, and Christian in the number 311 Wheeling Cadillac. So, yeah, this game is absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad that we're here today to go ahead and just be able to bring you the prologue. And this is only the prologue. This isn't even the full season yet. So we're definitely going to have to go ahead and see how the rest of the season plays out. We have a lot of very awesome tracks coming up. Bahrain is the next one, which Bahrain is honestly one of my personal favorite tracks. It's so much fun to drive. It doesn't matter what car I drive it with. Like, I could drive it in an F1 car, one of these hypercars, LMP2, LMGTE, or LMGT3. Even drove it in some just regular road cars around here for Stella Corsa. And honestly, the Bahrain International Circuit is a lot of fun. Portimao is also a lot of fun. And it's very tricky. A very good preseason race. So going ahead and taking a look at our calendar. So February 8th, we have the 1 hour of Bahrain, followed by the 90 minutes of Spa, the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, the 90 minutes of Monza, the 1 hour of Sebring, which is my home track, and then the 1 hour of Fuji to wrap up the season on March 15th. And we see some of these cars kind of going airborne there, as the Porsche Penske of Jonah just gets a little airborne there with some of the elevation changes on this track. We're going to now switch to the onboard of one of the Ferraris. We'll go on board with Johnny Luna. See if he's on track. Yes, he is. So currently sitting in P4 as we come down to the last 2.5 minutes of this race, or this qualifying session. And then we're going to go ahead and start up the actual race here for 1 hour in Portimao. So I'm really excited for that. So do you think it's going to be Toyota domination like it was in the IRL race back in 2023? Or do you think we're going to see some newcomers come up and go ahead and just shuffle the order around a bit? Just go ahead and let us know in the comment section down below. Right now, the Toyotas look impressive, to say the least. We'll go on board with one of them now. We'll go on board with the current pole sitter of Mark Santos in the number 7 Toyota. Excellent stuff there from the Toyota. I mean, the Toyota's always been a really strong car. I mean, Toyota has pretty much won the WEC Championship. As we have a yellow flag, that must mean some car went off into the gravel. Fortunately, that's not the case. Didn't last super long. So hopefully we don't have any full course cautions or safety cars. That's the idea, because we just want full action-packed racing, and I think we could definitely get that here today. So, out of the tracks that I mentioned for the season here in Bahrain, or for LSR, what track is the track you're most looking forward to seeing? Because honestly, Sebring and Bahrain are easily my two picks for like what could be the best races of the season. I mean, Sebring is a very tricky track. Got a lot of bumps. Part of an old Air Force base. Sebring, Florida. So that one's going to be fun. Bahrain obviously provides really good racing always. And yeah, I think we're going to have an excellent race here today. Coming up to the last minute of qualifying here as it stands here at the first prologue race of Le Mans Ultimate here at Lightning Speed Racing. Down to the final 30 seconds. Right now, it is a Toyota 1-2 with exactly 2 tenths separating the two cars. But I do think we're going to go ahead and see some order changes as it gets down to the wire. Now we're seeing the Toyota get a bit of a tow there from the Hertz Toyota, the Hertz Team Toyota. The Porsche, let's see, it's going to be the final lap for a lot of these drivers now. I think that Toyota Porsche is done. I don't think we'll see him again. We're going to go on board this time with, let's go with one of the Glickenhaus machines. Oh, never mind, that Glickenhaus is in the pit. Try to find a car that's actually on track. I don't think there's really a lot of them. Okay, here we go. Here's an Alpine of Jay Mora, one of the drivers in the number 36 Alpine Endurance team. Go ahead and making his way through the corners. I mean, he's currently sitting in P6, which is a pretty good result there for the French-based squad. And I mean, honestly, this is another very strikingly beautiful endurance car. It uses a Mechrochrome V6, the same engine that's in the Formula 2 cars at the moment. Oh, he goes a bit over track limits. He might still get the time. Let's see if it is an improvement there. I don't think so. I don't think that was an improvement. That's his qualifying done. He'll go ahead and continue in P6. Fonzo in P5 for Lamborghini. Go on board now. Let's see if we can actually see who else is on the lap. Fonzo's in the pits. Just going to go ahead and cycle through all these cars and see who's on track. I believe everybody's in the pits now. Qualifying is done and dusted. Yep, that's qualifying wrapped up for everyone. So, your starting grid for this race is we have Mark Santos getting T1 pole position in the Toyota. And then his Toyota teammate of Rovan Mashendi right behind him. Followed by Mikhail Frokov in the BMW. And then we have Johnny Luna, the number 51 Ferrari. Alex Afonso in the Iron Lynx Lamborghini, number 36. Number 19. Number 36 is Javi Mora in the Alpine. And then we have Bradley Kennedy in the number 94 Peugeot. And then we have Adrian Pubella in the Porsche, followed by Tristan Mendy in the Wheeling Cadillac. The leading Glickenhaus of Dan Wilson in P10, followed by James Anderson, Nemanja Nekovic, Nico Perez, and Formula Jonah. Those are the drivers rounding up our grid. We're going to go ahead and get underway with the racing here real soon. And I think we have an excellent race on our hands. Qualifying is one thing, but now the race is about to be a whole nother beast. So get ready, strap in, go ahead and like and subscribe here to us on YouTube. Make sure you turn on notifications because we don't only do Le Mans Ultimate. We also have a very spicy F1 season that's currently underway. I had the privilege of commentating one of their races in, I believe it was Group 3 in Suzuka. A lot of fun, a lot of really close racing between all those drivers, and I'm expecting no less here in Le Mans Ultimate as we are going to get underway very, very soon. So we're just going to go ahead and wait until we go ahead and get the green flag, and then we'll go on board for the track. I believe in about 8 seconds we're going to go ahead and get on board. And then we'll do the formation lap, and the formation lap is actually underway. We're going to go ahead and start by following the number 1 positioned car of the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing in the hands of Mark Santos. Followed by, that BMW is getting really close. I think the Toyota actually had a game crash, the number 8 Toyota. So that does move up the BMW WRT machine of Prokev into P2 at the moment because the other Toyota unfortunately had a tech problem, which is, I mean, at least it's happening in the preseason, so it's not affecting the actual race or their actual standings in the championship. We'll do a quick formation lap here, and then we'll go ahead and get underway with green. There's the Glickenhaus of Perez, as well as the other stages. I saw a DQ there for one of the Porsches, and actually, congrats that we're underway. Prokev going to go ahead and take the lead with the BMW up into turn 1. Doing a great launch there for the BMW. He is doing absolutely amazingly around this track right now. We're going to go ahead and just watch all these cars pile through the beginning of sector number 2. The racing is going very strong. We're going to go ahead and see a few of these Peugeots going to go ahead and battle a bit. Trackside. Up there we have the, oh, it looks like Mora might have lost a few positions there at the start. Mora is going to go ahead and just challenge that Peugeot ever so slightly. And then, but then again, it is early on in the race. We have an hour of this race, 59 minutes remaining. So no need to do anything super rash, although damage is set to low. You can't terminally damage your car in turn 1, but there's no sense in causing unnecessary damage that could just slow your race pace down. Gonna go ahead and go on board with. Gonna go ahead and go back to the front with Mikhail Frokov, BMW currently leading the pack. He's got the Le Mans art car livery applied to that BMW as it sits right now, which is actually a really neat livery. Very beautiful. I mean, I don't think any of the hypercars have any bad liveries. We're going to go on board now with Mark Santos as he chases down the number 20 BMW who took the lead on lap number 1. He's just closing that gap. The Toyota is known for being extremely rapid. So we know that the Toyota does have pace, but so does the BMW. V8 versus V6 between the BMW and the Toyota respectively. We do have a flag that got cleared up pretty quickly. I believe that was just one of the cars going off track. We're going to go ahead and switch on board to Formula Jonah is actually in the pits. He's a lap down. He might be out of this race. One of the Joda Porsches not having the best of times here as it sits. Now we're going to go ahead and actually switch to the... Actually, we're going to go on board here. It's a side-by-side battle between Alex, Dan Wilson, and Adrian Pubella. They're going side-by-side there. The Porsche getting pretty aggressive there throughout some of these corners. Not quite making an overtake just yet. But, I mean, right now it is very close racing here at the opening stages of the 1-hour race here in Portimao. Very clean stuff. We haven't seen really any contact, at least from anything we have seen here on stream. We're going to go ahead and look at this battle that's still going on between the Toyota Santos and Prokev and the BMW. He's got the run up. He's got a very good run. He's got the slipstream. Will he make a move going into turn number 1? No, he does not. He decides to, he thinks better of it. He realistically did not have the real estate to go ahead and try to make the move. Good that he didn't. Prokev putting his car in a really good defensive position as to not let the Toyota pass. I mean, honestly, once that Toyota goes, then it's going to be a really hard battle to try to claw back that Toyota Gazoo racing machine, the number 7 car. Clearly having a lot of pace. The front two have already built up a 3-second gap to Luna behind in Ferrari. We're actually going to go back to the battle between Kennedy and Afonso. The Lamborghini and well, they were close. There must have been an incident happening between... Oh, never mind. Now the camera's showing it. So, there's a good battle here for P5 between the Peugeot and the Lamborghini. The Peugeot at points looking like a rally car with how much it's actually getting airborne on this track at the moment. We're seeing some really good racing here throughout the pack. The number 94 Peugeot going ahead to keep it good. Lamborghini of Afonso there, with Alex Afonso really having to work that Lamborghini to try to keep ahead of the hard charging Peugeot. Now this is the updated Peugeot for 2024, as it has the rear wing. The 2023 Peugeot was the only hypercar that did not have a rear wing. It had more of a ground effect concept compared to what it has now, compared to a lot of the other hypercars that we're competing with. Still another very beautiful hypercar. I think Alex Afonso went wide there. I think a lot of these cars are going wide here. Track here at the moment. But now we're going to go back to the battle between Santos and Prokev. It's getting very close. He's very late on the brakes. He's a little bit of contact. The retake, he had to get that position back because he forced him off track, but that Toyota is on a hard charge. It is a revenge drive right now for Mark Santos. That Toyota is on a mission. And we're going to go onto the bumper cam of this Toyota as it is chasing down this BMW, getting super close at a lot of points, but just not quite enough to actually make a move that's going to stick. His best opportunity was a few corners early as the BMW does lose a little bit of traction. This is forward. The door doesn't open ever slightly there for that BMW. Gonna go ahead and get on board with the BMW now. Go on to that bumper cam view of the Toyota behind it. A lot of these cars are getting a little bit airborne there. Luckily, it hasn't caught out the drivers too much. We're gonna go back to the onboard of the Toyota. Toyota's gonna make a pass, and it's gonna stick. And the Toyota is back in the lead, but it goes super wide and allows the BMW to go ahead and repace. The BMW of Mikhail Frokov has just retaken the lead because the Toyota of Mark Santos is just right there a bit. Very exciting battle here for the front. We're going to go ahead and actually go down the order a bit and go ahead and take a look at the battle here between the number 2 Cadillac of Nemanja Rahokev as he's trying to chase down another American machine, Nico Perez. Number 708 Glickenhaus. Trying to keep the gap close a bit. But, I mean, you can't really let any car get too far away. But this is essentially the battle to not get in last place. The battle for P12 here at the moment. We're also going to go ahead and switch up to Tristan Mendy and James Anderson. The Wheeling Cadillac taking on one of the Jota Porsches, the only Jota Porsche on track. Now this is a bit of a close battle here. But that battle between the front here, between Frokov and Santos is still getting dicey. We're going to go back onto the trackside view of Mark Santos. Those cars are really close now. We're going to see if there's going to be a move made onto the BMW here. He's got a shot. He's got the slingshot. He's going deep into turn 1. Is he going to make it to stop? Oh, there's contact between the BMW and the Toyota. Oh, I wonder if he's going to have to get that position back. The BMW did go a bit wide there. Now he's chasing down the Toyota. He's really pushing it now. But that Toyota, I think a little bit of contact, this gave Santos enough of an edge to go ahead, swing into the lead. And now, I mean, that Toyota, we know the Toyota's got some ridiculous pace. So it's going to be a near insurmountable task to go ahead and try to get back past that Toyota. But start finish straight here on this track is a very good overtaking opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and actually hop on board with the Porsche in P9, trying to chase down P8. So the Porsche Penske of Kubela going after Javi Mora and the Alpine. Very good stuff there from these drivers. Keeping it clean for the most part. We've had a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of contact between a few cars, but so far, no major crashes, no full course yellows, and definitely no safety cars at the moment. But now, it is worth noting that as we're only 10 minutes into this race, we're going to start seeing some pit stops here surely. So that'll be very interesting to see. We'll see how the drivers manage those pit stops, if they have race engineers in the ear telling them what to do, if they got some very specific strategies. Now, Tristan Mendy, the Cadillac right behind him, has definitely got some really good pace. He's catching up to the Porsche, trying to pop into 9th place. We'll go ahead and see if he makes the move. He just does not quite have enough real estate to go ahead and try to make that move, but we're actually going to go on board with the Porsche, the Toyota in P6 at the moment. Instead of chasing down a Lamborghini this time, he's got the inside line. He's going to make that very clean overtake. There's not much that he can do. He does give him a little tap. Forcing that Toyota to go a little squirrely on corner exit there. But that Lamborghini is not going to give up without a fight. He's going to fight with everything that Lamborghini has to offer. But we do know that Toyota is very, very strong. It's a good climb for that Toyota to kind of make his way back to the field. Then the best start here in this race. But he's making a stick. I think looking out the Dan Wilson ahead did lock the brakes ever since. So that's going to let the Toyota catch up a little bit. Now, I will say, it is going to be a bit harder for the Glickenhaus to kind of pull away. It is 3-wheel drive, and it does not have the hybrid system that the Toyota has. So, I mean, that's already two slight disadvantages. But Dan Wilson has had some very serious pace on this track. So, I mean, we saw how many laps it took for the Toyota to get ahead of the BMW, but then after that, the BMW or the Toyota just started pulling away. We know that Toyota is exceptionally strong here, especially at this track. It's a track that just seems to really suit the car. Oh, a little bit of a brake lock up there. For Dan Wilson, he just can't get the car rotated. Number 4. That Clickhouse is just struggling right now. He's got a first-class ticket to the struggle bus at the moment. Unfortunate stuff there. Just locked up the brakes a bit. I mean, we're not braking. I mean, overshooting your braking point is a common issue on this track. We've seen quite a few drivers do it in the practice session while the practice session wasn't streamed. While we're getting a lot of the drivers in, we were hearing a fair amount of complaints about locking up the brakes on several corners of this track. It is a hard track to go ahead and work with. Not the friendliest of tracks. We're gonna actually, I was actually trying to look for a close battle, but it doesn't seem to look like there is any. So we're gonna go back on board with the leading Toyota, unless you guys have a request. Go ahead and, if you guys have any requests for a car you want to see an onboard lap of, go ahead and let us know in the comment section down below. And also, Jonah, go ahead and let us know. He got ESQ'd. Unfortunate race start for him, but hey, it is preseason, so no points are awarded. Also, shout out to Formula Jonah. If you love endurance racing content, whether it's IMSA, ELMS, WEC, or any form of endurance racing, check out his channel. He has very good informational videos. It's details that it's confusing. It's very digestible information on his videos. I was watching his videos quite a while before I even joined LSR as a commentator. Excellent stuff. It partially stoked my love for endurance racing, especially encouraged me to keep up with him. So shout out to Formula Jonah. And I bet his race pace is going to be absolutely amazing. We know that Porsche is very fast, but unfortunately with that DSQ just did not play into his favor. Speaking of Porsche, we're going to go ahead and get on board with one of the Porsches. We'll go on board with the number 9 Porsche of Adrian Pabella, the Porsche Penske machine. Just rips around the track here. All these cars are by themselves, although we do have somewhat of a battle between Alfonso Wilson. We'll actually go ahead and pivot to that battle. The battle between the Glickenhaus and the Lamborghini. A battle that unfortunately I don't think we ever got to see in the real WRC, because Glickenhaus, or WEC, Glickenhaus left right as Lamborghini joined, so unfortunately we didn't get to see this battle. But now we get to see how these two cars would stack up to each other. Once again, the Glickenhaus is not a hybrid, nor does it have four-wheel drive, so it does have a bit of a disadvantage compared to the Lamborghini behind it. But I believe it does have raw power against the Lamborghini, so we'll just have to see how it goes here for Dan Wilson. He does have some really good race pace here, although just had a few issues with brake locking. But now we're actually going to go ahead and in a short while we might pivot over to the battle between the number 8 Toyota and the number 51 Ferrari, because that's a battle that looks like it's about to happen. We'll have to go on board with that fight now. The Ferrari and Toyota, the battle from Le Mans last year and the battle in the year before. A little bit of contact there between the AF Corsa Ferrari and the Toyota Gazoo Racing machines as they go through Sector 2. These two cars are neck and neck. This is going to send a dive, but so going to go ahead and keep it. He does have the inside line for this next corner, but that Toyota is not giving up. That Toyota is going to fight tooth and nail for the position. He's got the inside line. He's got a break, and it's a spin! It's a spin for the Ferrari of Luna. That's a yellow flag, but it won't bring out a safety car. But that puts him right into the crosshairs of Dan Wilson, not the Lamborghini behind him. Well, I mean, there was a battle there against the Toyota, but he just launched it there on corner exit. The tires just did not have the grip. And yeah, that was basically all she wrote. So we're going to actually go ahead and pull up the positions gained and lost here. As it's actually not going to go ahead and give us any information, unfortunately. I know this isn't the starting position for all these drivers because I know the Alpine started higher than that, so unfortunately that UI bit isn't working. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much energy is remaining for these drivers. 0%. I'm going to give it a refresh to see if that changes anything. Okay, so some of the UI stuff is just not quite working as intended. Do apologize for that. We'll go ahead and just go back to what we had on screen previously. So, slight bug with the UI there with the overlays. We will go ahead and try to get it fixed. Actually, just playing with the sides of that, see if we can actually get all drivers on screen. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But anyways, back to the action currently happening on track. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this just a smidge. Alright, so back to the action on track. No majorly close battles yet, but although the battle between Alfonso and Wilson is still going on, but they also do have a Ferrari in front of them that might come within striking distance here within a few laps time if these two cars just keep it clean, and they can honestly kind of work together, kind of build off of each other's slipstream, go ahead and try to chase down that Ferrari for P4. Ferrari did lose quite a bit of tire life from that spin earlier, so Wilson and Alfonso do have some opportunities here. If the Ferrari makes another mistake, then that's a position gain for both machines. Glickenhaus is actually having a really good race considering it's the only non-hybrid on the field at the current moment. The only most boutique manufacturers in the racing here today. We do have drivers registered in the Esota and the Vanwell. Hopefully we'll see them at the next race out on February 8th. Bahrain will start at the same time at 12 p.m. Eastern. So normal time for the Americas, but I think it's 6 p.m. Central, or Central European time. Anyone who's in that time zone can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, we have a lot of excellent racing. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of it. Because honestly, the racing on track area has been very intense so far, and you definitely do not want to miss these future races that we have here today. So, Wilson has pulled away from the Lamborghini. We'll go back on board with the... I'm sorry, Alfonso did get the move made onto Wilson there. Now he's pulling a bit away now, but he does have a nice 10-second gap to the number 94 Peugeot behind him. So very excellent stuff there on track from all these cars. The Glickenhaus, I think, is struggling on tire life at this point. Yeah, I think just a few brake locking issues and also just tire life has just been the death of some of these cars. We're going to go ahead and go on board with the BMW in P2. Just go ahead and check in on how he's doing. Now there's a 6-second gap between himself and Mark Santos, Toyota. We knew once that Toyota got ahead that it would just be extremely, extremely difficult to try to catch back up and just bring back that gap. Just unfortunate stuff there, but I mean, honestly, you got to give it to Mark Santos. That pace in that Toyota is amazing. I mean, you can have a fast car, but if your race pace isn't there, you can't extract all that performance. And Santos is extracting every single ounce of performance from that Toyota. He's making it sing. He's keeping his lines super duper consistent. And very good stuff there from the Toyota. And now we're actually going to go on a full onboard lap with the car, and we'll be back in a bit. again there for the Toyota. Great stuff. Well, I can't believe that there was a spin there for the number 7 Toyota. Just unfortunate stuff there from the Toyota driver. Not what he wanted to happen. Now he's down into P3. Froka retakes the lead. And I mean, overall, it's just here on track. The Toyota's in position now. In 2 cars, his teammate in the other Toyota, and then Frokov in P1. Unfortunate stuff for that Toyota. He had such a clear race lead, but now the BMW Frokov will go ahead and retake the lead here on this track. That is extraordinary. Wouldn't have had that on my Prologue and Portimao bingo card. Just insane. Just really unfortunate there. Actually, we're going to go on board with Mora and Bradley. There's a massive battle here coming up for P number 7. It's a really close battle between the 2 French cars here right now. So we're going to go ahead and stay on board with this for quite a bit. We're actually going to go on with the Alpine of Mora as he chases down that number 94 Peugeot, trying to go ahead and claim 7th place. Ooh, the Peugeot's a bit later on the brakes. He does have that bit of track positioning advantage. This is not the easiest spot to overtake. The better spots are definitely in Sector 2 and Sector 3. So we're just gonna go and see, but he's got to keep it close. He's got to keep it close. That is the only way he can go ahead and make this overtake. So right now he is only about 3/10 away from that Peugeot, and now we know how strong the start-finish straight slipstream is. He was thinking about hooking around the outside, doesn't quite get it. But now it's going to be a really close battle. Can he go ahead and get the switch back? He's going to try to hang it around the outside once again. He does not quite get it. He does not quite get it. The Peugeot still remains in P7, but now we're going to go ahead onto the start-finish straight, going around that one of those really tricky corners around the Gout on the start-finish straight, heading up to the Premier corner. Is he going to make a send? No, he does not. He just decides better of it. He decides to just go ahead and wait. But, I mean, he could have seized the opportunity right there with the Toyota or the Peugeot. A bit. Just a battle again. He sent it up the inside, but just did not quite make it stick. But that Peugeot is just struggling on what might be just the tires just kind of burning out. Might be suffering on tires a bit. And Mora, looks like a little bit of a love tap there. Kind of like what we saw the BMW give the Corvette at Daytona. A little smooth, but not enough to cause any major incidents. I will go ahead and commend all of these drivers for going ahead and sorry about that. I was just checking some things real quick on my timing table here. But also, I mean, this has just been a really entertaining battle. I have to commend all of these drivers. Just how clean the racing is. There's been a few log taps here and there, but so far, no major incidents aside from just self-made driver errors. And it is just it's just unreal how amazing these drivers are here at Lightning Speed Racing. Very good stuff here from a lot of these drivers. I mean, keeping it close, a little bit of contact here and there, a little bit of fender bending, but so far, no major collision-based incidents that I've seen so far. And I mean, for a brand new series, the racing here is absolutely amazing. Now, LSR has done some stuff for Gran Turismo and for F1 in the past. This is their first foray into Le Mans Ultimate. But so far, I think it's been a pretty successful first foray. As this battle just continues, I mean, honestly, the only thing I am slightly disliking about this battle is I don't have popcorn nearby. Because this is cinema right here, folks. Just absolute pandemonium going on between these two cars. Are we going to see a spicy overtake here for Javi Mora? Not quite. He gets so close to that Peugeot, but it's just knocking on the door. But the Peugeot is not answering. Not letting him inside. Not letting him gain position. But now he might have it. He might just send it to the inside here. But the Peugeot does have the track position, but not anymore. Maybe Mora's going to go ahead and finally get a position, but not quite. Absolutely amazing stuff for Bradley Kennedy in the Peugeot, but he might just lose that position now as he does not have track position. They don't have him in the corner. He might be a bit later on the. Is it going to happen this time? It's out at the inside line going to the. Got this. Quite have enough real estate. Now we're going to go ahead and switch to the battle between. Oh, Dan Wilson is going around. Glickenhaus. And it's going to take P5 away. I mean, it has just been an issue with just tire wear for the Glickenhaus. Unfortunately, I mean, it does have a bit less grip than some of the other cars, considering it is a rear-wheel drive car compared to the others being four-wheel drive. I think the only other rear-wheel drive car available is the Van. He spins again, pulling out another yellow flag. Dan Wilson is just not having the greatest of races here. It's just unfortunate for the Glickenhaus. Started P4, had a really good qualifying position, but just due to the Glickenhaus's overall just general lack of pace compared to the cars in front, and also just little mistakes like that, it's just let him fall down the order now. He's got a 10-second gap to the Lamborghini in front and a 3-second gap to the Alpine behind him. We're gonna go ahead and go on board with we'll go on board with the other Glickenhaus. Not having the greatest of races either. He is 83 seconds behind the race leader, and about, if I'm mathing correctly, about 22 seconds behind the car ahead of him, which is Dubella in the Toyota, or I mean the Porsche Penske. Must have had an incident as well, as he's actually pretty close to his teammate, or one of the other Porsches. This time it's a Jota Porsche of James Anderson, as the two Porsches kind of go side by side here. Very clean stuff here from the two drivers. Now are we going to see the run up on the straight? Are we going to see an overtake? Porsche v Porsche. With Jota Porsche and the Penske Porsche. Oh, but he goes way off track there, trying to hold on track position. And both of the Porsches go way off track there. They're taking some IndyCar lines here. And I mean, the position's reset. Because I don't think that was going to be a legal overtake. So I think that Cubella would have had to give that position back anyway, but man, I wasn't expecting that one. Just both drivers going a bit off track there. I mean, I say a bit, that's an understatement. As the Porsche, or the Hertz-Jota Porsche goes off track even more. The Hertz-Jota machine is just hurting right now. And that's been the same issue we're seeing from all of the other cars. Because we are down to the last half hour of this race. Down to 30 minutes remaining here on the session. Halfway done with the Prologue race here in Portimao. And now we're going to start seeing some cars pit in. The two Toyotas go ahead and make their pit stop. That's going to promote Luna to P2 and Alfonso to P3. So the Lamborghini and Ferrari going ahead and taking up some podium spots. Wilson will go ahead and make the pass. We'll actually go and spectate one of the Toyotas. As we see a few cars just in the pits. Two Cadillacs are just out of this race and they're done. Same with the Porsche Penske of Jonah, who got DSQ'd earlier on. Getting some fuel and maybe some new tires for the Toyota currently, but he's dropping out quite a few positions. But I do think we're going to go ahead and see this field kind of level back out. As these pit stops start kind of rolling in, we're going to go ahead and go on board with the current on-track leader being Mikhail Frogov, the current race leader. There is a yellow flag. I'm not sure what the yellow flag is going to be for. That got cleared quickly, so it must have been another car spinning. No full course caution yet or a safety car, which is nice. Hopefully we don't have one of those at all during the season, but especially good that we're not having one here in the prologue. Everyone's keeping it nice and tidy, you know, keeping it clean, not, you know, sending each other into the shadow realm or hitting the other card so hard it sends them to Bahrain. But, I mean, right now, I mean, Prokop, with how far he is ahead of Luna, he might as well be in Bahrain at this point, ready for the first points-paying race of the season. So, let's see, who are we going to go on board with this time? We'll actually go on board and just watch the ascension of Mark Santos as he's on fresh rubber. So he's going to go ahead and definitely try to make a hard charge up the field. I mean, he's got the tire grip, but we know that Toyota is extremely rapid, as both the Toyota and the Porsche Penske of Cubella in front of him go off track a bit there, going a bit wide. I mean, it does take a while and LMU to go ahead and get your tires warmed up. Something that we actually saw out there in practice too is that a few drivers complaining that their tires were just not getting warm enough, quick enough. I mean, we had a 10-minute practice session, or sorry, we had a 30-minute practice session earlier, and then 15 minutes of quali, which a good amount of time was set just trying to warm up the tires. Because these tires, they do take quite a bit to get warm. Unlike F1, where the tires are already pretty warm from the get-go, where you have to do minimal warming. As we see Santos get ever so closer to Adrian Pubella. Gonna go and say if we might see him move here in the next few laps. Now, it is worth noting that he does have a fellow Porsche in front of him, a different team of Porsche. So just to kind of give an insight onto how we're scoring things based on teams. So instead of it being based like, you know, all the Porsches are scored together, all the Cadillacs are scored together, etc. They're scored based on which team they are representing. So the two Toyotas are going to be on the same team because they're both part of the Toyota Gazoo Racing fold. And then the Porsche Penske team will be scored separately, as we see a little bit of a slide there from Mark Santos. That opens the door for one of the Porsche Penskes, talking about them, as they go onto the Galp corner here. But, I mean, the Toyota is just able to carry so much more speed throughout that corner that it's just going to be able to regain that momentum. But the Porsche does have a good slipstream there. We'll see if he makes a move. He does not. So back to the scoring methods. So the drivers will obviously be scored accordingly. There isn't multiple drivers per car. There are reserves that can appear in the series, and they will go ahead and get points as a reserve. And then they'll go ahead and score points to whatever car they're reserving in. But the overall, we are scoring things based on what team the car is representing. So the Whelen Cadillac is scored differently than it's in a different, has its own score part on the scoreboard compared to the Chip Ganassi Cadillacs. The Jota Porsches and the Penske Porsches are separated, and so on and so forth. So the reserves are also going to be the reserves have their own spot on the scorecard, but they'll also say if they're reserving for Toyota, they will go ahead and score points towards Toyota and not a separate reserve entry on the scorecard. Although it would be funny to do some quick maths throw up an Excel spreadsheet and just see how many points like all the reserves across the season will score. But what's really interesting right now is this battle on track between Mark Santos and James Anderson, the Toyota Gazoo Racing Machine versus the Hertz Team Jota Machine, as they come up to the start-finish straight. Now we know that Toyota is on fresher rubber and it just has a massive amount of just raw pace. Doesn't quite get it done, but thinks better of it. I don't think the tires are warmed up yet, as we see both cars going off track once again. I'm sure the FIA would have a field day just as an F1 race. It would have been like Austria 2023 all over again. But so far, I haven't seen any penalties being dished out, which is nice. I mean, aside from the DSQ of Jonah earlier, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle back there for Adrian Pabella there. He gets a low score there. And now we're going to see who we can go on at. Actually, we're going to stick on board with this one. Speaking of on board, we're going to switch to the onboard camera. Go ahead and get to a proper camera. He's going to chase down that Porsche. Getting close. He might take a set up the inside. That's a really optimistic move. He's going to hold it for now. Half the position. A little bit of contact there, forcing both cars to go way off track there. Hold up the yellow flag for Cern. Doesn't quite get a full course caution, but really messed up Mark Santos there and allowed Adrian Pabella to get the go ahead and get back in the front here for P6. But I mean, we know that Toyota's got that extreme pace, but the Porsche is right behind it in terms of just raw pace. We've seen it from the 2024 season that the Porsche and the Toyota were basically neck and neck at most races, with the Ferrari kind of being a close third. But right now, it's a BMW-led race as we go back on board with the number 20 machine, Mikhail Frolkov. He did lap a car. I was actually pretty confused for a second because it shows he does have a 23-second gap to Johnny Luna and number 51 Ferrari behind, but I was wondering why there's a car behind him. But it is the lapped machine of Nico Perez. There's quite a few lapped cars here. P8 all the way down to P11 are all lapped machines. Actually, we'll go on board with some of these lapped machines. Let's see, who should we go on board with? We'll go on board with actually, let's just go back on board with this battle between the Toyota and the Porsche. It looks like I picked a really good time to go back to this battle. To each other. We're going on board now with the Toyota. He's getting really close there to the Hertz team. Joe the Porsche. It looks like maybe almost a little bit of contact. Is he going to get the move done? I think there was a little bit of manage, but not quite enough to go ahead and insert the car. No. So now, Mark Santos and James Anderson right now for proof of it was good. Porsche respond. Are we going to see a run? Just think Toyota just has better tires and overall just a stronger pace. That's going to be P5 Toyota. But now here's the question. Are the cars in front of him going to have to pit? There's no mandatory pit stop in this race. But we're going to see the Toyota catch up with these front four cars if they make a pit stop. We're going to see those top four cars just try to do their best to make it to the end. There's no points on the line, so this is really just for bragging rights here at the moment, but it is worth noting. Looks like Anderson, though, did close the gap a little bit to that Toyota behind and Toyota in front. But I think overall that Toyota is just going to start pulling away once we get to that start-finish straight. Or even now, it's starting to pull away quite considerably. We'll go ahead and take a look and see if there's any other battles we might be able to go on board with. But it is just, I'm just holding up the timetable here. Mark Santos is 81 seconds away from P1, the BMW head. So he's going to make up 81 seconds of time to go ahead and make it stick. But right now, taking a look at everything, looking at all the times, that Toyota does have the fastest lap set of everybody so far, a 1:32.770. And the next fastest time, hit that car in front with a 1:33.448. So that is the fastest lap at the moment here for the race. And it's in the hands of the number 7 Toyota. So we know the number 7 Toyota does have the overall race pace right now. And we might be seeing signs of how this championship might go ahead and unfold. Alright, so let's see. Who are we going to switch to the onboard of this time? We should go with the P3 Lamborghini. This is a really solid result there for the Lamborghini. Sitting at P3, did not have the best of starting positions. And on their next starting lap, on this lap, we'll go ahead and do a on board with the clown. We will be back in a bit. Switch. We'll go on board with the Glickenhaus Nico Perez. We haven't seen a whole lot of him this race. Just has not been the greatest of starts here for the Glickenhaus squad. Still a double top 10, which is amazing for this squad. I mean, especially considering some of the rapid cars they have behind them. But I mean, some drivers have had a much better race than others. Javi Mora not having the best race either. He started pretty high up on the grid. I believe he started at P6, but he's down into P10. 3 laps down from the leader. And I believe actually an additional 2 laps down from, he's 2 laps down on Nico Perez. And looking also not the greatest of starts for the Alpine of Javi Mora. Gonna go ahead and actually go on board now with the Alpine. Oh, the Alpine's called it. So that explains it. The Alpine has called it. We're seeing one of the Porsche Penske machines pit. We see Adrian Pubella go ahead and make a pit stop. We'll watch him as he does his pit stop. I believe it's for tires and fuel. Maybe just fuel or maybe just tires. He's back out. We are down to almost the last 15 minutes of this race. We'll see where he comes out on track. I think he'll come out. He'll come out last on track. He'll just be behind the 2 Glickenhauses. So now there's only 9 cars left in this race. It is unfortunate that we've seen some cars retire, but maybe there's tech problems, maybe there are some other issues. I mean, we know some cars had some unfortunate glitches before them earlier on in the race, like the DSQ and also a game crash. But even for someone who had a game crash, I believe that was the other Toyota. Actually, I think the other Toyota DNF'd as well. Yeah, the other Toyota's out of the race due to a game crash, I believe anyway, so that is unfortunate. Was going a bit slow there for a little bit, but I think he was just preparing for a corner. So now we only the top few cars are actually on a lead lap right now. I think the last car that is on a lead lap is James Anderson in the Toyota and the Hertz Team Jota Porsche. So only the top 6 are on the lead lap at the moment, which does include some pretty interesting cars. The BMW still dominates in the lead, with Luna pretty comfortably in P2. We'll actually go on board with the Ferrari for a bit, just because we haven't seen a whole lot of the Ferrari throughout this race. He did just pass a lap to Glickenhaus, Nico Perez. So he is up a spot. Luckily, we haven't seen too many impeding incidents during blue flag situations. So I mean that's always good, because we've seen it before in other racing series and other racing games where sometimes the driver just kind of ignores the blue flag and creates a collision, which knocks out the lead car. So it's tragic when that does happen. We haven't seen that here today. It's a testament to the level of professionalism that we're seeing, even though it's a preseason race with no points on the board. A quick yellow flag showed up for a bit, but once again, I think it's just someone either going way off track or just having a spin. So far, no full course cautions or safety cars, which those are both something we may see in later races. There are things that are a part of Le Mans Ultimate. They're even here on the on my graphics here. I can toggle them if we get to that stage, which hopefully we don't. I'd rather not have to see a safety car or a full course caution, but although it would pack the pack up a bit, so it might create some interesting racing a little bit here and there, but I think just letting these drivers just go out, drive, and get accustomed to the machinery and get accustomed to how racing in this league is going to work, I think would be better for these drivers, especially in the preseason. It would definitely be more entertaining for you guys, that is for certain. So we're going to go with the number 7 Toyota, the last remaining Toyota in the race, as he does catch up to Bradley Kennedy in the number 94 Peugeot. It's going to be a fight for certain to try to. He can reclaim P4. He can reclaim that, but I think with only 12 minutes left, unless these top 3 cars pit, then I think we have our podium set, which is going to be Mikhail Frokov in the BMW, Johnny Luna in the Ferrari, and then Alex Alfonso in the Lamborghini. So the podium we didn't quite expect. We didn't expect Toyota to kind of be absent from the podium, but I think that pit stop might have just kind of threw a little bit of caution to the wind. But I mean, it's good to kind of understand how the pit stops are going to work, as we see the Toyota just go ahead and make an effortless send through the Galp corner. Oh, but he goes way wide. He must have put a little too much send to it. And the number 94 Peugeot goes ahead and retakes the lead. We're going to actually go on board now with Mark Santos as he chases down this Peugeot. They both go a little bit over the track limits there. So far, so good. So far, no major problems for either of these cars. But, I mean, this Toyota does have the superior amount of grip. And I think that Peugeot actually did go a little squat on the exit of the corner there. The Toyota's going to have the inside left. He's going to be the brakes. He's going to he the brakes a little bit. Spawns the car from the corner. Retake the spot. Bradley Kennedy is going to go ahead and retake the position. And he's going to hold on to it for a little while longer. But the question is, how much longer is that? I think we're going to soon get our answer as they come up to one of the trickiest sections of the track. There's so many elevation changes here that if you just go a little too hot into one of these corners, it could spell doom for your lap. That right there is actually the corner they just went through is one of the hardest corners on the track. When I was doing testing in the Van Wall a few weeks ago, it was very tricky to navigate. I braked it way too late a lot of times there. And that corner is, funny enough, actually named Portimao, which is the city we are currently racing in. So there is a little fun fact as they come through the Galp after ending the Sagres corners. So the Toyota did regain the position, but Luna actually made a pit stop with 10 minutes remaining. So maybe now we're seeing like the limit that these cars are going to go to before they actually make a pit stop. Starting to see the limit. Frokov also pits in, but they'll put Alfonso potentially in the lead as it sits right now. Maybe, depending on how long Frokov is into the pits for, he surely won't need that many fuel. Oh, we have a penalty for Luna. Luna has a penalty of some sort. I'm assuming that might be speeding in the pit lane. I'm gonna go ahead and look and see if I can find out what exactly caused that penalty. I'm not seeing it at the moment. Yeah, so if but it is a penalty for the number 51 Ferrari. That's gonna hurt his race quite a bit. As Kennedy is now actually still pretty close to that Toyota, but still, that Toyota's just got just superior race pace, and he just goes off into the distance, which is pretty unfortunate there for the Peugeot. Peugeot had a really good run there, and now the Toyota's back in the podium spot. But the BMW does actually rejoin the race in the lead, 7.5 seconds ahead of the Lamborghini of Afonso, and more crucially, 43 seconds ahead of Santos. So I think the strategy for this race was just basically wait till the final 10 minutes of this race and just make your pit stop. Your pit stop is significantly shorter. So, going into next week when we go to Bahrain for the 1 hour of Bahrain coming up on February 8th, I think tire and fuel strategy is going to be a massive talking point here. And it's going to be a massive point of discussion between the teams and drivers. Just so they can kind of workshop it to figure out what's the best strategy. Because, I mean, Santos had a clear win. It looked like a clear win anyway. But it looks like it's just kind of thrown off due to a strategy call. And we've seen that before. Like, I mean, it was a whole meme for Ferrari in like the early 2020s with 2022 and 2023. And even a little bit of 2024 in the last F1 season. They can have a monstrous race, but just a disastrous strategy call can just take what was basically a guaranteed win and just throw it out a window. And I think that's exactly what happened here to the number 7 Toyota of Mark Santos. I think it was just a bad strategy call for that number 7 Toyota, and it just cost him. So I think going into Bahrain, we're going to see a lot of drivers kind of experiment with strategy before we actually get to the race itself. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a fun talking point, honestly. I think it'll be a good topic of discussion going into Bahrain and also during Bahrain, because Bahrain is a bit of a different track. It doesn't have nearly the amount of elevation change that this track has. It has sort of similar corners, but without the massive elevation changes. So it's not as it's known for being super hard on tires, but it's still a very good track for racing, and I am excited to see. But someone else that's probably very excited is Mikhail Frokov. Because Frokov right now is sitting in P1 and sitting pretty, might I add. His closest competitor, which is the Toyota Mark Santos, is 43 seconds off. And both guys already did their pit stops. So, I mean, as long as Frokov keeps it out of the gravel, then he's going to race win here, pretty much bagged up. But it is worth noting that Santos did have that spin earlier when we were doing our silent onboard lap with him earlier on in the race. I think it was right before he made his pit stop. But that does promote Bradley Kennedy, the number 94 Peugeot, up into number 3, so he'll go ahead and get a podium. But that Lamborghini on fresher tires is going to try to fight it and try to reclaim that podium. So right now we're actually down to the point where it's only the top 5 drivers are actually on the lead lap, with Wilson and Perez inheriting some positions after some pit stops and some penalties for some of these drivers. I think Luna might still be the only driver with a penalty. So we'll just go ahead and keep an eye on everything. Actually, Bradley goes ahead and Kennedy went to the pits. Bradley Kennedy is into the pits with 5 minutes left on the clock when his podium is gone. Now, Alex Afonso is going to go ahead and take a podium here if he can finish the last 5 minutes of this race out without getting any penalties or having any major incidents. Now, this has turned out to be really good for the Lamborghini. A very surprised car on the podium here. Like, I'm sure a lot of us coming into it were expecting, like, Toyota, Porsche, Ferrari, or maybe a BMW or a Peugeot if any of those cars had incidents. But the Lamborghini is shown to have some really good pace here around Portugal. So, and I mean, it just shows like that these drivers have done their research and worked tirelessly to go ahead and tune their car to perfection. Or maybe they went on Heimbo and actually picked up a setup. Not sure. Which you can't do that, by the way. I'm pretty sure that is fully legal within the league. If you guys don't know, Heimbo is it's kind of like a marketplace for like racing setups. They have stuff for like Assetto Corsa, F1, Le Mans Ultimate, and stuff like that. Not sponsored, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Just giving the viewers information in case they may be unfamiliar with Hymo. But we're going to go ahead and see if there's any other battles we could come and watch. Not really, because everybody's pretty much super spread apart. We're down to the last 3.5 minutes. We'll go ahead and actually get on board with the number 709, Dan Wilson, Glickenhaus Racing Machine. As he just goes ahead and makes it. I mean, he's going right there, so I know the Glickenhaus doesn't have the same kind of downforce and traction as some of the other cars, especially being rear-wheel drive compared to pretty much most of the other cars. And Luna's done as well, so we are down to the last 8 cars out of 14 that started this race. We have seen 6 retirements. So 6 retirements here. The first one was Formula Jonah, who had a disqualification after a weird game bug, and then we had Nemanja Rajkovic. I probably mispronounced that once again. I do apologize. In the number 2 Cadillac, he retired 31 laps down. Tristan Mendy in the 311 Wheeling Cadillac also out of this race. Ruben Masendi also had some tech problems which forced him out of this race. Javi Moore out of this race. And then also Johnny Luna being the last driver out of this race. So far. And we're still working on the point system on how exactly everything is going to go and get scored. I do think it is following Formula 1 scoring system, or F1 scoring conventions. But so far, I mean, everybody that would finish would get points, as far as I know. And actually, Perez is DNF'd as well. So that's one Glickenhaus out of this race. Now we're down to the final 7 with under 2 minutes to go. And then when it hits that final lap, I'm going to go ahead and switch to our race leader and who would be our race winner, Mikhail Frokov, as we go ahead and watch him cross the line. We're going to switch over to some of these other cars, just to give them a bit extra screen time. Hopefully some of these drivers will go ahead and have better races starting the next race in Bahrain. And we might have a bigger grid next time out as well, because that is when the full season starts. And so far, every hypercar has had a spot or has a driver registered for that car. We may even see the 2023 Spec Peugeot go ahead and get allowed as well, so that's 2 more cars. So we're going to be seeing almost around 40 different hypercars competing in this series. Or 40 hypercars in general, I should say, competing in this series. Because I'm sure we'll have the Van Wall, the Asoda, and a lot of the other cars missing. So, on board now with Mikhail Frokov, who's sitting really pretty now in P1. He just lapped Wilson, who is in P3, so actually, that actually puts the Glickenhaus in P3. That's even more surprising. Wonder what happened to Alex Afonso. They must have had an incident or something. As we are down to the last 20 seconds of the race. If he finishes this lap, then he'll have 1 more lap, and he'll go ahead and just take the checkered flag. But as we've come down to the last 5 seconds of this race, he's only got a few more cars to navigate. A very clean race. He took the lead in lap 1, Santos. But it all came undone for the Toyota when he had a massive spin during an onboard segment. He's only got a few more corners left. He's coming through the gap now. The last corner. And the winner of the Prologue Portugal, Mikhail Frokov, takes the checker flag. And he wins here. Portimao. For the W13 machine. He's going to spin and do a donut into the wall. Extraordinary stuff. We just saw Bradley Kennedy go ahead and finish in P2, doing a few donuts there in celebration. Now we're going to go on board with Mark Santos. The car finishing in P2. He got pole position, but unfortunately had a spin and a pit stop that really kind of ruined his chance of taking the race win here. But it was still a very clean drive, very good pace there from Mark Santos in the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing Machine. He's going to come across the line in P2. And then Alex Afonso, actually, this might be a battle here. Alex Afonso and Dan Wilson. are fighting for the last podium spot, but I think it's going to the Lamborghini of the Iron Lynx team of Alex Afonso. Alex Afonso going to come across the line and take the last podium spot here in Portimao. Austin race there from the Lamborghini. He takes that checkered flag. Wilson's actually out of the race. What happened there? Wilson goes ahead and retires, so that'll drop him to P7. And actually, Kennedy and Anderson are in the pits, so we'll see how the final timing table actually rounds out. Adrian Pupella is going to be the last car across the line. Let's see if he moves up quite a few positions. Maybe not. I don't think he does, because all those other cars pitted in. So, that is the end of the first preseason race here in Portimao, and that is the end of the preseason racing here at Lightning Speed Racing for the first season of Le Mans Ultimate. So, running down the professional positions here, we have Mikhail Frokov in the BMW, Mark Santos in the number 7 Toyota, Alex Afonso in the Iron Lynx Lamborghini number 19, the 709 Black & House of Dan Wilson in P4, Bradley Kennedy in the number 194 Peugeot in P5, James Anderson in the number 38 Porsche in P6, followed by Pubella in P5, also in a Porsche. And then we have the 708 of Nico Perez in P8. The number 51 Ferrari of Johnny Luna wraps up our top 9, followed by Javi Mora, Rover Machende, Tristan Mendy, Nemanja Rashkovic, and then Formula Jonah. So that is the end of the first race here of the season. We'll go ahead and get some point scoring races coming up next week, February 8th. We'll start with qualifying at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name is Records, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.